Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of The Rachel Cruze Show. So I was having a conversation with a friend the other day and we just thought, man, like how we grew up was, you like rode your bike around the neighborhood and our dogs didn't even have fences. Like dogs ran everywhere, kids ran everywhere. You played capture the flag till it was like, dark outside and you have parents screaming, come in for dinner. And again, I live in a wonderful part of Nashville, all of that. It's not that it's bad, but I just find maybe it's our parenting or the world today. We're just exposed to so much. I feel like we're just a little bit more like nervous with stuff. We feel like we need to watch our kids more. There's now phones and iPads and screens. Everyone has to have 2 cars. Everyone is going on multiple vacations a year, it seems like. I mean, people are just busy and they're doing stuff and they're traveling and sport. Life just seems crazy. That's how I feel. It just feels so different than when I grew up. So my friend and I, we were talking about it, like, man, what is the difference between our parents' generation and how they did things and us? And then I was thinking, well, financially, it has to be so different. Like in 2021, you guys, the state of our finances is so different compared to our parents. I mean, you even just take the subject of inflation, right? So the current inflation year over year is about 5%, and that is the highest it's been in 13 years. So as an example, rental cars are up 100% year after year. I mean, it's crazy. So again, what we're dealing with today, it is different than our parents, but I really wanted to compare the two to say, okay, if we had the same things our parents had in the 80s, 70s, 80s, money-wise, what's the difference? So let's dig into some numbers. We're gonna just do a little fun math. Are you ready? So the average annual household income in 1985 was $23,620. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, our parents just lived on just above $20,000. How did they do it? Well, let's talk about inflation. Remember, throw inflation in. So if you do that percentage, then what it's worth today is actually $60,270. So the household income in 2019 was $68,703. So we actually are making more on average than our parents did. And so I always find that so interesting because I thought in my head at first, well, of course we're making more because both parents work outside the home. I just kind of have this picture in the 70s and 80s, usually stereotypically a mom would stay home, right? But again, I pulled the data from that, and according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the percentage of dual income households in both 1985 and 2017 were right around 55%. So just over 50% of couples back then and today are working outside the home. Very interesting. So we make about 14% more money than our parents did. But let's compare some expenses, shall we? So in 1985, the average home size was 1,785 square feet. Today, it's 2,261 square feet. So we have bigger houses today, which is not a shock. I feel like, yeah, bigger is better. Always happening, right? So let's put some mortgages on those houses. 1985, the average mortgage payment was $420. But with inflation, it'd be right around $1,073. But the average mortgage payment today is $1,387. So we're spending about 30% more than our parents did on mortgages. So our mortgages are higher than our parents for sure, but listen, one thing you won't break the bank for this year is life insurance. Just a little friendly reminder, if you don't have term life insurance, you need it. Not whole life insurance or Gerber life insurance. Those are scams that people have been falling for decades, and those products are really expensive and they don't pay out enough. But anyone who has a spouse or a child dependent upon their income needs term life insurance. And you guys, term life insurance is affordable. You want to choose a policy that would pay out 10 to 12 times your annual income. And that money is going to keep your loved ones covered in case something happens to you. And getting a quote on a term life insurance policy is so easy with Zander Insurance. So you just plug in your info at Zander.com and Zander does the rest. They find you the best rates at no cost to you. They make it easy, convenient, and affordable. So go to Zander.com and get your free quote. All right, let's get back to our list about our parents. So we talked about houses. Let's talk about cars. So a brand new Honda Accord in 1985, get ready, $8,845. Now, if you account for inflation, that would be about $22,569 in today's money. A new Honda Accord today is about $25,000. So we are paying more for new cars today than our parents did back then. In college, college. Get ready to get sick on this one. You ready? Yep. 4-year college degree in 1985, the tuition was about $5,500. With inflation, that's $14,045 in today's money. Yeah. And the annual cost of tuition in 2021 is going to be $28,120. You guys, it is crazy. We talk about how expensive college is these days, and it's true. With inflation, it's increased over 100%. So remember, stay in states, go to a community college if you need to. Go find another video on college because there's options. There's options out there, people, I promise. Not all hope is lost. Okay, not everything though in the 80s was cheaper. So here's some things that are really expensive in the 80s that our parents bought that we can save money on. A 20-inch color TV was about $500 in 1985. Yep. Remember those TVs, you didn't even have a remote. You got to go and change the dial. And then it moved to the TVs that were like big boxes, like big screen TVs. I remember those. I watched pop-up video on VH1 and those TVs. Yep. Mm-hmm. So again, that TV was $500, but with inflation, it would be $1,275 in today's money. And of course, you can buy a bigger, thinner, fancier TV for a fraction of $1,200. So yeah. Mm-hmm. And TVs, man, they were like a status symbol. I mean, it was like a big deal if you had like a nice big TV, wasn't it? I mean, it's just crazy. It's crazy. And so I think, what are the things today? Well, like a new iPhone that people pay $1,000 for. Maybe in 40 years, we won't be paying $1,000 for our phones. Maybe it'll be a fraction of that. We'll hope. We'll hope and pray. But here's the deal too. Back then, people were not saving for retirement like we are today. So in 1987, the average retirement balance was only $9,862, which is just under $24,000 today. You guys, that's not a lot. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that to be your retirement account, right? When you're reaching this age. Like, I want you to be able to retire with wealth, so you can change your family tree, and money is not something that controls you. So that's why I love teaching the Ramsey baby steps, because it helps you break free from debt so you actually have the money to put away for retirement. So what can we take away from all of this? Well, the most important part is that our parents did more with less. And when you wish that you could just step out of college or enter into newlywed life and have everything your parents have today, you have to remember, again, that they worked hard. It took them decades to get there. And the price point, everything was a little bit different back then. So you have to remember that. Give yourself a break. It's okay. You do not have to keep up with your parents' standard of living. And I say that a lot to people. Like, don't compare your parents' life to your life right now. Because again, there's like this 30-year gap usually, right? But I've also heard people say, yeah, my parents, they're boring. They're not buying fun stuff. They've just settled, or their life is too simple. But you guys, there has to be a balance though of what your parents are doing and what we're doing today, which as a world is costing $819 billion in just credit card debt. Mm-hmm. So obviously our parents have figured out something that we're not figuring out. Yep, the average American carries a balance of $6,000 on their credit cards. And over half of people are not paying them off every month. So this life over here, obviously financially, is not a success. And we get sucked into debt because we want stuff right now. And we just have to be careful, because the key to success is living on less than you make. And that is an old school principle that our parents lived on more back in the 70s and 80s that we can take a little note from, because it looks different today. I get it, in 2021, our life looks different, but man, not having our stuff absolutely control us is something that we really have to concentrate on. So hopefully that helps. A little fun game between the comparison of our parents and how they raised us and the world they were living in versus today. So I hope you guys remember to always take control of your money and create a life you love.